On this edition of Motorcycle Experience, an OPP constable learns how to swerve and protect, while this season's ultimate ride warms up in Rimouski, Quebec on the south shore of the St. Lawrence River. Then during our Winging It segment, touring expert Ken Edick really drills down on touring in the rain. While on Shifting Gears, contributing editor Jen Martin will offer up some important advice on cold weather riding. All this and more as Motovan presents Motorcycle Experience. Hello and welcome to Motorcycle Experience, the voice of motorcyclists everywhere. I'm Dave Hatch, and this week we'll kick off our show by sampling a brand new motorcycle from the folks at Harley-Davidson, the Electroglide Ultra Limited Low. If you've ever been around Harley-Davidson products, then you know that when it comes to its model designations, the motor company really likes those long letter combos. Case in point, this new FLH TCUL. But who can really fault them for all those letters when you consider the super long list of updates thanks to the recently touted Project Rushmore initiative? Harley says the Ultra Low has received some 100 refinements, including small things like one-touch latches and more intuitive hand control switches, to big impressive items such as a touchscreen 25-watt boombox entertainment system. Powering the Ultra Low is Harley-Davidson's very latest dual-cooled, high-output twin-cam 103 cubic-inch V-twin with its 6-speed transmission. But added to the secret sauce is a new linked ABS Brembo braking system, a beefier fork, air-adjustable suspension, fairing, bags, fenders, wheels. Everywhere you look, something has been tweaked or overhauled completely. Just ask OPP Constable Stu Smith.
So Stu, I thought it might be fun to put you on this motorcycle today because technically you kind of ride this bike as part of your job. This is the civilian version of the OPP unit you ride, right?
It's exactly the same thing with a few small differences in terms of fit and finish, and it's certainly made for a more civilian purpose. It's got a lot more bells and whistles. It's certainly a lot more comfortable. And in this one, this particular model is a lower model. It's a low seat height, and I think anybody could fit on this particular seat.
Yeah. Now let's break it down into compartments. Let's start with the engine itself. This is the new 103. This is a little different from what you ride day to day.
It is. The Harley-Davidsons that have been used on the road are a 96cc. They're a little smaller. You feel that difference in the lower end. Mm-hmm. It's certainly got the same smoothness to it at highway speed.
Right.
But you do feel and hear a difference in the 103cc engine. It's nice.
Yeah, and a little more torque, eh? You can sort of see the pants?
You can certainly feel that on the lower end and up through the mid-range.
What about the new brakes? We've got the new ABS linked braking system. How did you like that?
Well, as you know, with any kind of heavier motorcycle, you want to make sure you have that power when you need it, particularly for road safety. Things will happen when you're riding.
Yeah.
And this has got power to spare with the brakes. You don't almost feel you need your rear brake. Your front brake is so good. Mm-hmm. It slows you down quite quickly.
Awesome. A little bit different for you in terms of the cockpit, obviously, and the leg guards. How did you find the experience in terms of the fairing and the layout of the controls?
Well, like I say, it's very similar in terms of the guts of the bike. The layout is very similar. The gauges are much clearer on these because all four gauges are up nice and high where your line of vision should be, looking
right
up and over that visor. Related to the visor is something that I don't have, and that's this little shut-off vent. It makes a huge difference when you're on the highway in terms of helmet buffeting. When it's closed, you can feel your head buffeting back and forth a great deal with the wind. As you open it, it immediately goes away. You immediately have a nice stable seat and your head's not moving around at all, and it makes up for what you'd think would be an issue with a lower windscreen.
The other thing that's kind of new for you up front is this boombox display. How did you find the screen and the controls?
You know, we had high sun at many times in our ride today, and despite that high sun, I had a nice clear picture of that screen. As you can see, the sun right now is shining down on it, and it's a very clear picture in terms of the color and the definition on it. It's easy to read, which is good because you can get your eyes back up on the road where they belong.
How did you like the fit and finish, the chrome, the paint? I kept joking about this being the Elvis bike with the two-tone, but I loved it. But how about for you?
Well, I think it's obvious that the paint and the fit and finish speak for themselves. I mean, this thing, especially when the sun hits it, it just gleams. One of the things I really like about these side bags, and where they're very different from any Harley I've ever been on, is you can just use a one hand to open it up. The lever system is very effective and very easy to use with one hand, even if you're sitting on the bike.
Yep.
You can operate them and close them. It's also got a little bit of a safety catch in here so you don't overwhelm the mechanism and end up breaking it.
So is this something that you could see putting in your own garage someday?
Absolutely. I think this would be a good bike for long mile munching. I think it's something that you could comfortably go 2 up on. If you look at the size of your rear seat here, it's just all kinds of room for a passenger. You could get on this bike and ride for hundreds of kilometers and not feel it. Get off the end of the day and not even be sore. You can pick up and keep going the next day. It's something I could see in my garage. They will keep you happy over the long term on the road.
Very nicely done. Thanks for coming out and helping us out today.
Hang in there, we've got plenty more experience still ahead. Next, touring expert Ken Edick doesn't wing it when it comes to the rain. While Norm Wells and I say if it's Tuesday, it must be Rimouski. Portions of this broadcast are brought to you by Harley Davidson, BMW Motorrad, and Honda Canada.
Welcome back as Motovan presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now to catch up with a million miler who has owned 5 Gold Wings and 2 Kawasaki Concours. But before we do that, let's check in on this week's ultimate ride. Today, it's day 2, and we're on the south shore of the St. Lawrence River.
So, as you know, our ultimate destination for this trip is the famous Percé Rock, a huge limestone formation in the Gulf of the St. Lawrence, located off the tip of the Gaspé Peninsula in Quebec. For centuries, early explorers have made note of this impressive rock formation as they made landfall here in Canada. After picking up a couple of BMW K1600 GTs in Quebec City, we headed southeast, using the Quebec Bridge to cross the lower St. Lawrence over to the South Shore, before turning east towards the Gaspé Peninsula.
So Norm, it's a beautiful sunny morning as we start day 2 in this season's ultimate ride. We're in Rimouski, Quebec, and last night we spent the night at the Hotel Navigator. And I noticed riding in last night that we probably only had about 3 or 4 medium to large hotel choices.
Yeah, I mean, now we're into an area that has a much smaller town, so you're not going to get a multitude of hotels to choose from. As we continue the trip, you'll see less and less of these bigger hotels and start seeing a lot more motels along the way. So if Rimouski is going to be your first spot, you know, you'll have a choice for probably the last time you'll see a multi-story hotel for this part of the tour anyways.
Well, it might be, if you're traveling here in the on-season, during the summer, it might be a good idea to book a hotel here in advance, because I would imagine it fills up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Rimouski is a town of about 45,000 people. We're right on the south shore of the St. Lawrence, and it's a little chilly this morning. I think we're about 11 degrees, not too bad for mid-September, so we're gonna have a bit of a chilly morning. The plan is to ride to Saint-Anne-des-Monts, which is probably only, by the looks of this map, probably only about 2 hours up the road if we stay along the south shore of the St. Lawrence. But you have a different plan in mind. We're taking the long route.
Well, Rimouski becomes like Rivière-du-Loup was. This is another decision point in your tour.
Yep.
If you took the 132 east, then you would go down through the heartland here and skirt the shore, or if you went 132 west, then you would stay along the north shore all the way around. But we have some time, so we're going to cut down through the heartland, come along Baie des Chaleurs, and then take this 299 up through the park and end up in Saint-Anne-des-Monts that way. So a little bit longer than the 2 hours.
Okay, so rather than following the shoreline, we're going to cut south, cut inland, and then cut back up again through the mountains.
Yeah.
So we should see a little bit of everything today.
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's obviously our first time here, but judging by the landscape of the map, it should be quite an interesting day.
And speaking of interesting days and seeing a little bit of everything, yesterday was all about Quebec City to Rimouski, which for the most part we were on the South Shore on the 20, as they call it, which then became the 132, but just late in the afternoon, found a great little stopping spot, getting off the beaten path. We found this Parc de Bic.
Yeah.
And what a great surprise that was, just before getting into Rimouski.
Yeah, and that's, we always say that. If you've got the time, take the extra half hour, get off the main road, do a little exploring, and when we came around the corner and saw that beautiful bay, low tide, the little houses in the background, just beautiful.
Yeah, that was right outside of Saint Fabien.
Saint Fabien-Saumur.
Aha. All right, so I guess we're gonna pack up. You've got a little surprise for us this morning, I hear. Are we stopping somewhere in a couple of hours?
We'll stop in a couple hours. We'll stop in a town called Matapedia, which is right at the bottom of the 132 here before you get to the bay. And my sister actually lives there.
Oh.
And my brother-in-law's promised us to prepare us a lunch of some type. I have no idea. It could be peanut butter and jam, or maybe something local. Who knows?
Something local flavored?
We'll see.
So this is a reminiscent of our trip to Newfoundland, where we stopped to see your Aunt Millie. Today, it's your sister. All right, we're on our way. Be sure to tune in all summer long to continue to watch this 14th Ultimate Ride. Meanwhile, Honda Canada is celebrating the 40th anniversary of their Goldwing this summer, and to mark the occasion, we're celebrating the art of long-distance touring with a new segment we call Winging It. So Ken, last week on Winging It, we were talking about rain riding, and you brought out all this rubber gear, all the old school rain suits and gloves and lots of rubber to pull over our gear. And one of the things you pulled out were these totes. And I was shocked. I was like, that is fantastic. I know I'm not gonna get wet feet, but I couldn't believe you would pull these over your riding boots. Seriously?
Yeah, there's a trick. Just like anything else, you learn as you go along.
Right.
And the first couple of times you see your buddies do it, you don't tell them on the trick. Because most people, the first time they get them, they're pulling like crazy and they have a blowout because they stretch it. Why? Because this is such a live rubber and you probably got damp feet.
Right.
And that just doesn't work. What I found is a little trick. Recycled, rejuvenated, whatever you want to call them, grocery shopping bags, the ones that are more crinkly than rubber. If you put those over your shoes right up as far as you pull them, they're almost like stirrups.
Yeah.
Pull them on as far as you can, then put your foot into these. They'll slide right in as if it was a pair of bedroom slippers. But you need that little trick before you realize that these can save you. But they're difficult to find.
There's a great tip. The other thing is, Tyvek, you also pulled out this, and I stopped you last week. I said, let's just talk about this for a second. You actually pull this out and put it over all of your riding gear and use it like a rain suit?
For sure, it is the newest high-tech rain gear for the motorcycling world. In the last half dozen years or so, those that are real travelers of all kinds of environments have learned what these are. It is that material that you still see as far as labeling on the sides of houses. And one of the neat things about it is it won't allow water through, but it'll allow evaporation out.
So
if you're inside, it breathes, which is a big thing even in the housing industry.
Now, we've been talking about pulling on a lot of gear, and let's just talk about that for 1 second. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen people pull over, they're touring, and it starts to rain, and they're diving underneath the overpass, and they're pulling on their gear right next to the highway.
Right.
Not a good idea.
No, it is so unsafe. It's dark. There's not a lot of room under there.
Yeah.
And if you've ever looked at it once there, the swirling action of passing vehicles, you're not dry under there anyways.
Right.
The fact is you're out riding for a while, you've got the ultimate sunroof going on, you knew what was coming. I look at the opposing traffic, windshield wipers, extra headlights, it's time to get off before I'm going to drive in what I can see. So pull off to a safety spot right off the interstate, get under some protection at a gas station possibly.
Yeah.
I've never been chased out yet. Get your gear on there and then resume the trip.
Wow, and great tip. Watch the cars coming towards you. They got their wipers going, you know there's rain ahead.
That's right.
Awesome stuff.
Be sure to tune in next week as we'll once again be tapping into Ken's 40-plus years of long-distance touring. Meanwhile, still ahead, round 3 in the Ultimate Yamaha Challenge. And we'll get some very important tips on extending your riding season. Stay with us.
Welcome back as Motovan presents the experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now for this week's Yamaha Ultimate Challenge. Anthony Mann of the OPP is back with his FZ07, and he's staring down challenge number 3, the obstacle avoidance course.
Okay, so this summer we're putting the riding skills of one OPP Constable Anthony Mann to the test by putting him through a series of motorcycle riding challenges designed by Matt Fletcher of Yamaha Canada. Matt hopes this friendly competition will help all of us to become better riders while at the same time show us how to explore different ways we can use our motorcycles out on the open road. Anthony offered to take on this competition in the interest of public safety, and after acing the first 2 challenges, he's ready for number 3.
So Anthony, welcome back to the Picton Airport in Prince Edward County.
Thank you.
All set for challenge number 3?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well once again, Matt Fletcher from Yamaha Motor Canada is here with the challenge. Matt?
There you go.
Gee, I thought you were going to say tuna casserole. Obstacle avoidance. So you can see Matt has laid out a course for you here. It's the classic serpentine obstacle avoidance. We need you to go up here at the first pylon, make a right, get back into your lane, head out through the last cones, come back around to here, make a full stop, go through the course again, this time make an obstacle avoidance to your left, get back into your lane, go through the other end, slow U-turn through the gravel on the left, be careful there, and then you've got to get back here within 45 seconds.
Okay.
All set?
All set.
All right, let's do it. Matt, you time it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Oh, he's off to a quick start.
Is he ever?
Nailed it.
7 seconds.
Are you kidding?
No.
That was quick. Full stop. Okay, go. He's pumped.
He's not messing around.
Oh man, he's flying. Gotta be careful in the gravel.
Yeah, great job.
And back around.
It's gotta be close.
In here to a stop, nice and clean.
And
Perfect. Well done. What did you get?
41 seconds.
41 seconds. Excellent.
Great.
You shaved 4 seconds off the record. Well
Excellent.
done. How did it feel?
Felt good. The bike really responded well. It was almost like I was one with the bike in the turns there.
Excellent. Any tips on how to pull that off? I mean, you looked great, super smooth. Any tips?
Certainly eye lead, and when you're making those quick turns, no braking.
No braking. When you say eye lead, you were looking ahead, certainly not focusing on the cone.
Absolutely. You're looking to what you want to avoid, looking for your escape lane, and looking well ahead.
Right. And a lot of leaning. You were leaning the bike, not your body.
No, it was the bike. And again, it responded really well. It was nice and tight, and like I said, it certainly was as if I was one with the bike.
Well done. That was
Thank you.
the first time you've done it, and you just nailed it.
Thanks.
All right, so that's 3 for 3. You're looking good in the points. Let's move on to the next challenge.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, I gotta say, with 3 down and 9 to go, Anthony Mann handled Matt's obstacle course challenge with confidence. Now, I hope you were watching closely because that segment really was all about practicing your counter-steering technique. Something you may have learned through a ministry-approved riding course, but we always recommend you practice at least once a summer. So, find an empty parking lot and get swerving. And now that we've got you all fired up, stay tuned because next, Jen Martin has some great advice on off-season riding. Portions of this broadcast are brought to you by Harley-Davidson, BMW Motorrad, and Honda Canada. Welcome back as Motovan presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and now that we've got you all fired up to go for a ride, we'll wrap up our show by looking at how to prepare for those chilly spring and fall rides. Joining us now is the Chief Riding Instructor at Georgian College, Jen Martin.
So Jen, this week we're up at Dealey Harley-Davidson Canada. They invited us up and they said, you've got to see all the neat, cool stuff that we've brought in to help extend people's rides. I thought this is so appropriate because last fall, late October, I was out on a tour to the Gaspé Peninsula and it was 3 degrees every day. But the things we're going to talk about here saved our bacon and actually made it a really enjoyable ride. So let's talk about extending the ride.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at extending the ride early in the season and extending it towards the end of the season. So there's
Yeah.
certain things that would help with that. I'm looking at this, which is quite nice. I've never sampled it, but we've got the heated seat,
Right.
which would be a nice feature to have for sure in the early cold temperatures and later on in the season as well. That's what you had, right?
We had heated seats.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
You've also pulled one of these. This is obviously something that you can add to your motorcycle, a heated grip.
Yes, I love heated grips. Now I'm spoiled. I think that's a great addition for sure.
It's amazing the difference it makes to your ride when your hands are warm. I can't believe it.
For sure. We're going to be talking about gear and everything like that, but yeah, for sure the hands, they're so important steering the motorcycle.
Right. And these?
Yeah, these, the soft covers there for our engine guards, right?
Right.
So that'll help reduce the wind, and if it's raining, reduce that off our body, our
Right.
lower body, for sure.
Again, so now your feet, your knees, your ankles, everything are kept, much warmer.
Yes.
You're deflecting the wind away from that. We were able to use those.
The windshield is another feature that can be adjusted for your motorcycle at the beginning of the season, end of the season.
Right.
So you can have add-ons like that.
Okay, so there are certainly a lot of options now in terms of heating you up pre-season, longer season. Let's talk about what to look for though when you're actually out there riding early on in the season. Folks drivers aren't used to seeing you, right?
Yeah, and with the warmer temperatures, people want to get out there sooner rather than later, but you got to consider the road conditions. So that's
Right.
what we're talking about. Not only are drivers not prepared to see us, but you've got the gravel or sand that hasn't been cleaned out. If you don't see those street cleaners out there, chances are the roads are still, especially in the corners, and
Right.
that's something to be very aware of.
Yeah, it's always a good idea if you can wait for a good hard rain to get that stuff off the road.
Yeah.
And then in the fall, we've got leaves to
Yes.
watch for. It's amazing how slippery they can be when they're wet.
And what they're covering, because you don't know if they're covering a pothole that's there.
Yeah.
So you have to be very aware of that as well.
And painted lines.
Not good traction when they're wet, and definitely not good traction when it's cold. So be prepared. Give yourself plenty of space, and as well when you're going to stop, don't stop on those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so overall, you've invested in this motorcycle. Why not get the most out of it and extend your riding season as much as you can, and perhaps consider something like adding a heated seat, some grips, some lowers, and you're away to the races.
Yeah. Enjoy the ride.
Awesome, great stuff.
Well, that's it for this week's program. We're all out of time, but if you're looking for more experience, be sure to go to our website, motorcycleexperience.ca, and join our Riders Club. Till next week, keep your feet on the pegs and your right hand cranked. Bye for now.